Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we're looking at the brand new Juggernaut wave of Marvel Legends Kitty Pryde figure. And this was one that, she's not a character that's generally super popular, but I was really looking forward to this one. I think it'd be nice to have a new edition, a new version of her to add to the collection. And I have to say, for the most part, I'm pretty pleased with this figure. They did a lot of things really well. Unfortunately, it seems to me like only the Spider-Man Legends waves are consistently good. Other waves seem to be almost there, and then somebody's like, nope, we need to save that extra 10% of effort, save that budget, don't put any more effort into it, let's put out a somewhat not great figure. So, you know, there are some drawbacks that we're going to have to talk about, and that's what we're here for. So let's get it off the stand and take a closer look. This figure stands roughly 6 1/4 inches to the top of her head, which makes her just about 16 centimeters. And if you've been collecting figures for any amount of time, you know that companies don't like to paint yellow paint. I know it firsthand, painting yellow sucks. It doesn't cover, and it's just not a good pigment. Well, this figure, they didn't have to worry about that too much because they molded all of the yellow plastic other than the hairband. So there's really no consistency problems or paint problems with the yellow. It's a very, very good thing. You can see she's very uniformly yellow everywhere she needs to be. And they painted the black where they needed to paint the black, so that's a good thing. As far as accessories go, she comes with her little buddy, so that's a good thing. He's all metallic purple, which is nice. The eyes are painted terribly though. One eye just looks like a big streak. The other eye is almost not even there, so that's kind of a bummer. Will he fit on her arm? That's a good question. Let's see. Let's give it a shot. I haven't tried this yet. I think if we wrap the tail around, maybe we'll have some luck. Maybe a little bit like that. Looks like it's got enough balance and enough tail and enough wing that you can put him. His name's Lockheed, right? I think that's his name. That would make sense based on the airplane people. That's a thing too, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, he fits on there, so that's a good thing. Alright, and then the other accessory, other than the Build-A-Figure part, which I never mentioned because it's irrelevant, is the head, which is another big Build-A-Figure part, but the much more important one because Juggernaut's fine and all, but when it comes to Onslaught, bum 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 bum, we needed this head. This is the head everybody wanted, not the one that we got originally, so this is a really good thing. The plastic's not the same plastic, so the red doesn't really match, unfortunately, but it's still really nice. And then, of course, the purple is not the same purple, so that doesn't really match either. And the sculpt's kind of weird, but it's still the head we wanted, and it's definitely good enough to make this figure look super duper cool, so I'm very pleased about that. Let's set him back down. Let's get her back over here. All right, so this figure, we often have very similar head sculpts for very many figures. Hers is very unique and I love it. It's much more natural looking, doesn't have quite so much of that comic styling, but not like hyper realistic, so I think that's really good. They painted the lips this very faint pink, which looks really good. The eyes are painted really well. They're metallic irises again, but it's not great, but it'll do. I really like the hair sculpt. It all looks really nice. I don't like the fact that the hair up here, since it has to be connected anyway, it should just be a peg that can swivel. But it's glued in and painted terribly, so that definitely could be better. This torso, all new. I love that they sculpted this new torso with the shoulder things on there, that V shape. Looks fantastic. I really, really like that. I love the way they did the belt. That's so cool looking, the way it kind of just sits there. Looks so much better than most of these belts that just sit there and don't have this styling, so that's awesome. I'm pretty sure those arms are not new, but they are sculpted, so that's good. The boots, no sculpt work at all, so that's kind of a bummer. So, all in all, it's pretty good. Let's run the articulation, and you guys will see we have a couple more issues and then some stuff that's okay. So the first issue is the head. Much like Storm and so many other figures, the head sits way too high on that ball peg. I'll just pop it off so you can see. Come on. That ball peg has an extension on it. We don't need that, and it makes the head sit too high on it. So now you have this range of motion that's totally not necessary, unrealistic, and not anatomically correct. So yes, you have the normal articulation, which is good, but it's really hard to actually make it look good unless you just pose it and then look at it from a certain angle, because otherwise you're going to end up with big gaps in her head and or neck. So that's I don't know why they keep doing that, but they keep doing that. It's driving me bonkers. The shoulder doesn't come up perfectly horizontally, but it's probably good enough. You have the full swivel other than because the shoulder's in the way, it doesn't go all the way to the top, but I'm okay with that. No bicep swivel, but you do get it down here in the elbow. You don't quite get 90 degrees out of that bend, but I think I'm okay with it. For the wrists, we have the swivel and the hinge. This hand's obviously an open hand. This hand's a fist hand. Same articulation on both sides though, so no big deal there. It's a diaphragm joint here, but it works particularly well, and I think the females are a great example of good articulation for the torso without an ab crunch. You get your rotation and you can lean in just about any direction very nicely, so that's a good thing. Now for the hips, we have a bit of an issue. When you put the legs straight down and the belt's not in the way, the hips stick out. This part of the hip sticks out way higher than the part that's connected to the torso. And because of that, if the legs are straight down, you can't bring them out to the side at all. You have to bring them forward and then out to the side. And then you still have very minimal articulation, and she's in a really weird pose. So that's not good at all. And you can only bring the legs forward if you bring them out to the side at the same time. So that hip articulation is no bueno. We have a thigh swivel that works fine, double jointed knee, that works fine. And then for the ankle, even though these feet might be too big for her, we get pretty decent range. You can bring them far enough forward, all the way back, and you get an ankle rocker. So all in all, she's a pretty basic figure, but the new stuff that's on her is pretty good. There's some things about her that I really like a whole bunch. And then there's just some things that they just drop the ball on again. So, alright guys, there it is. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day, so make sure you check back for those. And in the meantime, keep collecting.